There are three major misconceptions about revocable living trusts. I'm Warren Ross, I'm an estate planning attorney, and a lot of people I speak to have very common misconceptions about how trusts work. So the most common misconception is that a lot of people think that trusts are just for wealthy people, but revocable living trusts are what we set up for anyone who wants to avoid probate for whatever reason. Maybe they're on their second marriage, or they have a difficult child or family member, or they own property in multiple states. Whatever the reason, we set up a revocable living trust. The revocable living trust isn't even the type of trust that we set up for people who are over the estate tax exemption. If there are estate taxes involved, there are other types of trusts that we use to avoid those taxes. But a revocable living trust is what we set up for pretty much anyone who wants to simplify their estate and make sure that their family stays out of probate. Now, the second misconception is that a lot of people think that trusts are expensive to maintain. You may read on the internet somewhere that it costs between $500 and $2,500 a year to maintain a trust. That's only if you use a corporate trustee. With a revocable living trust, almost every trust that we set up is set up so that the person in charge is also the person who created the trust. So you're still in charge of your own assets. You can do whatever you want with them at any point, and you don't have to pay any fees to maintain that trust. There's not real differences in your everyday life from having a trust to not having a trust. And then the third misconception is about taxes. A lot of people think that if we set up a revocable living trust, that you're going to be taxed at the trust tax rate. But a revocable living trust is a disregarded entity by the IRS. So while you're alive, you still pay taxes the same way that you always have. You still use your social security number. You don't need a separate tax ID for a revocable living trust. And then when you pass away, your heirs can get a tax ID from the IRS to close out the estate. So there are a lot of misconceptions about revocable living trusts. If you would like to learn more about them, please call Warren Ross and Associates, and we'll set up a free consultation.